keep
disappear or
finding
whatever.
them in my clothes, in my
Yeah.
bag,
Oh, I
for
know.
months. For months after we go to the carnival with Livia. You keep finding coriandoli everywhere. Yeah, in
And
your
when
pockets.
when you go out and walk around and kids are out and they have their costume on and they're celebrating, they like take a handful and they'll throw it at you. So you go home, it's like in your hair, in your coat, in your pockets, like, oh.
I'm Wendy Holloway, and you're listening to the Flavor of Italy podcast, sharing the very best of Italian food and wine, lifestyle, and people.
It's the same old trio that loves to chat with you about everything going on in Italy from different areas throughout the country. And we thought for sure Carnival's around the corner, and already we're seeing delicious sweet treats all over the place. But I will just start with the least interesting part of it, which is a little bit of background. And these other ladies are going to tell you all about the great food. But so I think we all kind of know that that Carnival is a farewell season of eating and drinking and celebration before the restraint and solemnity of Lent. And the celebrations unfold over several weeks leading up to Ash Wednesday. And it's celebrated across Italy, but in really different ways. And actually, no two carnivals are alike, except for maybe the sweet treats that these ladies will be talking about. Um, Venice, it's all about masks and costumes and visual spectacle for sure. I've been there a few times. I know, Lolly, you haven't yet, but Julia, without even asking, I'm pretty sure. You've never
No,
been to it? Oh my, okay.
Together.
I will tell you that I don't like Carnival, but I had to wait a little bit longer to tell it.
Yeah.
Ooh.
So the Venice Carnival was first documented in 1296, and it's centered around St. Mark's Square. It really gets crazy, but you can take pictures of the most incredible costumes. And if someone's interested, send me an email and I'll send you some amazing pictures. They get about 3 million visitors each carnival. And then Viareggio, which is its first parade was held in 1873, and it's really known for its enormous papier-mâché floats. They get about 500,000 visitors each year. Ivrea is another big one, and it's famous for the Battle of the Oranges, and it it sounds pretty crazy and one I might like to go to, but dressed in clothes I don't care about because a massive food fight reenacting is part of what goes on there. And it symbolizes resistance, freedom, and lots of other things. We like that topic. And then Sardinia is really rooted in pre-Christian fertility rites. It's very different. And then Verona, which I did a podcast episode all about a few years back, and then I re-released it just last week, I think it was. And it's often associated with romance and wine, and it begins earlier and it lasts longer, and it really is starting just about now. And it's very family focused, and really an enjoyable one that you might want to consider going to if you're going to go to the Venice Carnival, because then it's right there. You can just hop over to Venice. Now, what I love about the Verona one is the Papa del Gnocco and the Venerdì Gnocco is the big thing. And so they elect a Papa Gnocco each year, And he has this wonderful, incredible costume. Go on my website, you'll see pictures of him. And he holds this giant fork with a gnocco on it. It's the funniest thing. And again, symbolizing, the abundance before Lent, lots of the sweet treats, but really tons and tons of gnocchi dishes go on. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, one other thing is where does the word carnevale come from? And apparently it's often connected with um, carne levare, which means removing meat just before Lent. So that's really the rough draft of really what goes on in Carnival. And every single place that you go in Italy, it's celebrated differently. So Julia is going to take it off now and tell us about some of her amazing food things that she does.
Can I ask you about the Papa Gnocco? I've never been to the Carnivale in Verona. So you said he has a gnocco and a fork. Is it like a giant gnocco or is it like a real?
Well, for the one for the parade, of course, everything is giant on the floats and stuff. Yeah, so he's giant. He's got a big beard. He's really festively dressed. And he's got this mega, like a fork, probably the length of my arm, and this big gnocco on the end of it. And there's a whole big story on how that came about, which is in the blog post that accompanies that podcast episode on my website. But that's the basic thing. And part of the whole ritual each year is electing this Papa Gnocco. And of course, they serve gnocchi throughout the whole thing. So that makes it really different from any other carnivals. And I love gnocchi. So,
Yeah.
So Julia,
So
tell us.
let's start saying that I don't like Carnival as a celebration. I have been traumatized as a child, Sometimes people,
yeah.
Your friends can be pretty cool. I remember once I was dressed like pagliaccio, like a clown, a beautiful makeup, and one of my friends just sprayed the foam spray that they use a lot here on my face. So I start looking like a very sad clown because I was like melting. So yeah, but the thing that I really love about Carnival is what you eat for Carnival.
Of course.
Before you were mentioning Viareggio, and I went to the Carnival in Viareggio maybe 10 years ago. And this is when I slightly started to change my mind because they framed Carnival in a different way. So I used to see Carnival as the last obstacle before spring, because when I was a child, I used to hate winter. Now I love winter. I'm really happy in winter. But as a child, I used to hate winter. I wanted to reach spring and summer. So Carnival was really the last obstacle.
Sort of the herald of springtime, sure.
Yeah, for me, it was the last, thing connected to winter. But in Viareggio, they celebrate Carnival because during Carnival time, they start living again. Viareggio is on the coast, so they have all the beautiful, the resorts on the beach and everything. So they thrive in spring and in the summer. So they really love to celebrate Carnival because that was the beginning of the good season. So that, slightly changed my mind. But
so did you see the food fight part?
No, I was on the big floats. I went to Carnival d'Arsena, which is something like the big celebrations they do the night before, where you go to the big restaurants where they eat the typical food there.
Right.
So that was really fun. But then I just, watched the parade, and it was amazing. I mean, it doesn't look even real. They're so big, those. Yeah. And as a child, I used to go to San Gimignano because, as you were saying, every town has a celebration for Carnival, and it was much smaller. This is where now we bring our daughters. So for Christmas, for Carnival, smaller celebrations, more
Child
friendly. Child friendly, yeah, something perfect for them. But let's talk about what we eat for Carnival. So as you were saying, Carnival is the last chance when you are allowed to eat meat or like animal fat, eggs, also lard before Lent. So all the sweet treats that we have for Carnival are very rich and often fried. Let's start with something that maybe is what my grandmother used to make more often, and this is what we call cenci. Chiacchiere, bugie, galan, they have so many names. That's my cenci.
Oh.
So basically, this is fried dough. A very thin dough that you roll out. Is almost like fresh pasta, as you can see. This is how we make it. You cut this, and then you fry, and it becomes all light and crisp. So here
So,
you
Julia,
have,
to interrupt for a second. So
yes,
that's what we know as frappe.
yes, they have the different names,
Yeah.
but they're almost the same recipe all over Italy. What they have in common is, of course, flour to make it, a little bit of sugar, a little bit of butter. So let's remember, we used to be lard in the past, of course. And then a couple of tablespoons we use Vinsanto, but it could be vodka, it could be grappa, it could be brandy. So alcohol, that is what makes them light and crisp and gives you the bubbles. So that's really,
I'll show the bubbles.
yeah.
So this
Try
is
to break it just to
okay.
for the snap.
Yummy.
You hear how
Yeah.
crispy, light, all the
Exactly.
bubbles.
Exactly.
Oh, here you can
And
see
then
in
nuts
chat.
are covered in sugar. So this is something very common here, also in the countryside and everything.
So it's basically, fried sheets of pasta.
Yes. Yes. Cenci. Cenci means rugs in Tuscany. So you fry rugs of pasta and you cover them with sugar, and they are delicious, of course. And this is something we do only for Carnival. So it's a very seasonal dessert. You don't find cenci throughout the year, just during Carnival time. So you
And
already
Julia,
find them.
do you fry it in lard?
No, I fry them in olive oil. But
Because
maybe in the past they were fried in lard. Yeah.
yeah, using lard really makes desserts very light and
Yeah.
pastries very light.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
These are
Then we have
definitely fried in
frittelle.
lard. They're so light, and they have no. I love the olive oil flavor on anything, but you can't taste it on these.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely lard fried. They're from the pasticceria.
Of course.
Well, no, Julia would have made them. I know.
No.
Oh, Julia, Julia would have made them. I would have thought about it.
Not yet. Not yet. Then we have frittelle, fritters. These are rice fritters. These are the typical fritters you can find in Florence. And basically, this is rice, you make a rice pudding. Then you add eggs, raisins. What else? I have my recipe here. Orange zest, lemon zest, a little bit of flour, and a little bit of Vinsanto, of course. And then you fry them. And these are the rice fritters from Florence. This is what my husband Tommaso likes because he grew up eating these fritters. But then we have fritters also in Siena, and they're completely different. So we came to an agreement. I make rice fritters from Florence, and we buy rice fritters from Siena because
So tell us
prefer
about the
Siena.
Siena ones.
So the Siena ones are completely different. First of all, now you find them for Carnival, but they used to be made for St. Joseph, which is the 19th of March. So in the past years, they were only made for St. Joseph, which is also Father's Day in Italy. Yeah. Now you start finding them after like mid-January until March. So when you have St. Joseph. So they were associated with Carnival, even though at the beginning they were not connected to Carnival. But now you find also the rice fritters from Siena during Carnival time. They are different because the recipe is secret. So first of all, you don't know the exact recipe they used to make the fritters. And then you don't buy these fritters in every pastry shop. There's a kind of a wooden hut, and it's placed right in the center of Piazza del Campo, or the Campo Square. And then there's another one slightly outside of the city center, and you queue there to get your fritters. This is the kind of
So, Julia,
the men frying the fritters. So the difference is there's no sugar inside. There's
so
no
you
flour.
don't find them in pastry shops?
No, these kind of fritters, you find them there. Because in the past, they used to come with kind of, how to say carretta, the barrel wheel to bring the fritters on the day of St. Joseph to Piazza del Campo. So now you find them in Piazza del Campo. There might be some pastry shops making them, but if you want to eat the fritters from Siena, you go to Piazza del Campo or to another little hut, which is slightly outside of the city center. So the dough is fermented for at least 3-4 days. So it becomes a little bit like mushy, and it's fermented. There's no sugar inside the dough. They are just covered with sugar once they're fried. And this shows very well how they fry it. So you see, they throw a spoonful of fritters into a barrel of hot oil, and it becomes like a giant floating fritter. And then they move it. I'll show you. Where is it? They move it on a rack to cool down, and you buy them in numbers. So you can get 5, 10, 20, and they give you a kind of a big floating island of fritters, one attached to the other, all covered in sugar, and then you eat them. And they are very crisp and sugary on the outside, but inside mellow. They have the orange zest scent, but no sweet flavor inside. So they are very, very unique.
Are they ever, when it's not Carnival, are they ever served with maybe like grated Parmesan cheese?
No.
So it's only a Carnival.
Only a Carnival.
You're ruining it, Wendy. Don't
only a Carnival thing.
Now, are these the ones that you told us about on your low season, the low season podcast that you did? Okay.
You just find them these first 2 months of the year. You have to go there in Piazza del Campo to get them. And I love them also because I studied in Siena University. So that was a little treat we would get. February is exam season. So after all our exams, they were done. You had kind of a week of, free time before new lessons start in March. So that was our treat. After the last exam, we will go and buy the fritters, sit down in Piazza del Campo, and basically they give you the fritters wrapped in paper, and you detach one after the other, and you eat them, but they're still piping hot.
Oh, yum. Yeah.
They're so good. But this is something you buy. You don't make them. So I make the Florentine fritters. I buy the fritters from Siena.
So you don't make the Siena version at all?
I tried, but the recipe is secret. And then I think you have to push the fermentation a little bit too far for me to feel safe for the fermented rice. So I prefer to buy them.
Right. It's almost more like a bread sort of a thing, since it rises and or it's fermented more so. Yeah, that's a little different.
Looks like porridge. It looks like porridge when you drop the butter into the hot oil. And then they go one next to the other, and you have these huge floating island fritters, which is dark brown and not sugary. Then they remove it, cover with sugar, and then they give you pieces of that according to the number of fritters you want to eat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so, which one does Livia prefer, Siena or Florence?
Probably both.
Probably both. Yes.
And has having had a child, has that also changed your perception of Carnivale?
Because she likes it. This year she has already chosen her how she will going to be dressed for Carnival, she will be a little Stitch, like from Lilo and
Oh,
Stitch.
Stitch.
So she knows that Carnival means rice fritters, means cenci. And then another thing that, now Carnival is also schiacciata alla Fiorentina for me. But this is so connected to Florence that I start appreciating the schiacciata alla Fiorentina once I start dating Tommaso. Because for us, schiacciata alla Fiorentina is not something we make for Carnival. It's not common. This is schiacciata alla Fiorentina. So it's a schiacciata in the sense that it's flat.
Okay.
So this is it was born as bread enriched with lard. So Tuscan pastry things are very, very connected with seasonality, and often it's bread enriched with something. So it's bread with grapes when it's harvest time. It's bread with pork. Ciccioli, how you call ciccioli in English? Pork.
Actually,
Ciccioli, it's
pork.
little balls of pork fat, kind of.
Yes, or like crisp and crunchy and salty.
like little.
Yeah, and then you fry them and eat them. They're good. They're fat, but they're good.
Cracklings,
cracklings.
yes.
Crackling,
Pork
yeah.
cracklings, schiacciata when you were, during the slaughtering of the pigs moment. And then Carnival time, bread enriched with lard. And then, this evolved into a kind of very flat, rectangular, because the shape is very important. I will tell you why. Cake, which is still made with sourdough starter. So it started as a bread, and then it has eggs, sugar, orange zest, and vanilla. And then it's baked into these rectangular trays, and I'm going to show you the trays as well. Why these are important? Because the nuns of Santa Verdiana used to make these schiacciata alla Fiorentina into the trays they were using to serve food to the people in jail. So that's why it had this shape. These are the trays in a Florentine pastry shop.
Wait, sorry. What did you say about the trays being brought to the prisons? What was
No,
that?
yeah, these were the trays used to serve food, the prisons in jail. So like kind of how you would serve them food in a little tray. And so the nuns of Santa Verdiana used the same trays to bake the schiacciata alla Fiorentina. That's why it has this rectangular shape that is very, very typical. You never find a schiacciata alla Fiorentina made in a round, like a round cake. It's so wrong. So it's covered with sugar, and it has the Florentine lily and cocoa powder on top. So there's a basic version, and sometimes you can also find these sandwiched with either pastry cream or whipped cream, or a mix of pastry cream and whipped cream, which is my favorite.
Yeah.
So every year in Florence, there's a competition for the pastry shop that would make the best schiacciata alla Fiorentina. And once Tommaso and I got to be into the jury to choose the best. It was a dream.
You'll have to send me the name of it. So when I go up to Florence, I'll go to that pastry shop. Yeah.
I especially like the one made by Giorgio, which is like outside of Florence, or Marisa. Giorgio and Marisa are usually the most famous in Florence. And when we were trying the different schiacciate, and you had to be a judge for this, they were not filled with cream, because you had to really taste the dough. It has to be like kind of a melt in your mouth texture, very soft and airy, and with a very intense orange and vanilla flavor. It's usually very yellowish because of the eggs and the orange zest. So this is lovely. It's a little bit complicated to make at home, because you need to make the original one, you have to use sourdough. Sometimes at home they make it with baking powder. It's similar, but it's not the same. And again, this is something I really love to buy.
You do make them.
Yes, usually I make it. I usually use biga, so I start the day before with some fresh yeast, and then I let it rise overnight, and then the next day I make it. But this is something I prefer to buy in a good pastry shop. So I would make my Florentine fritters. I would make cenci, and I would buy fritters from Siena and schiacciata alla Fiorentina from Florence. And this is what I really love about Carnival. Yeah.
Yeah.
And-
So, Lolly, getting back to your question about kids, I mean, I have 2 little grandkids. Julia's little girl, she's little. So, it is a big thing with kids, and they love it. And they have, I can't think of the word in English right now, the coriandoli.
Mhm.
What's the word for? Yeah. What do you call those in English?
In English, we call them confetti.
Oh,
We would say
confetti.
it
Yeah,
confetti. But of
right.
course, in Italian, confetti is the almonds that are covered in sugar.
Right.
They toss that at weddings.
Exactly.
But this
So, but
coriandoli are carnivale to me. When
exactly.
you walk in Como during Carnivale, you see it in between all the bricks in the streets.
Oh
where
yeah,
walks just coriandoli. And the
Yeah.
really lovely thing is that they are recycled. The really unlovely thing is that they're not biodegradable, so they just are there for like a month.
they kind
Yeah,
of like
I keep
disappear or
finding
whatever.
them in my clothes, my
Yeah.
bag,
Oh, I know.
for months after we go to the carnival with Livia. You keep finding coriandoli everywhere. Yeah, in
And
your
when
pockets.
when you go out and walk around, and kids are out and they have their costume on and they're celebrating, they like take a handful and they'll throw it at you. So you go home, it's like in your hair, in your coat, in your pockets. Like, oh,
Yeah. And when I
yeah,
asked my son, what does Carnivale mean to him? Because here in Como, I mean, I understand that in Venice, you can buy these very expensive tickets to the masked balls. But in Como, it's just for children. Carnivale is for children. It is
oh,
the
nice.
time when they dress up. There are coriandoli, and then there are the chiacchiere. And we have them in with just the powdered sugar. And for anybody who has joined since we broke one in half, we're going to break another one for you. And they also, I'm curious if they also come with the pistachio icing. No?
No, no.
No.
We also have the chocolate. And then we have now, what did you, no, you didn't mention these, did you, Julia? The little fried dough balls.
Yeah,
No.
We
We
call
don't have the rice
candy.
fritters. Just rice fritters.
Yeah. So everything fried. Everything fried.
Yeah.
And my mother-in-law, she makes these homemade every year, the chiacchiere, and they just can't really be beat. But here we go. We're gonna crack one open for you guys to hear. And
but Molly,
chiacchiere means,
if you make homemade pasta, you could just take, a little rectangle you cut out kind of jagged with a cutter that's jagged edges, fry that piece of pasta in, well, I would suggest lard, but olive oil, whatever,
there's sugar. There's sugar in this.
and
There's
sprinkle with powdered sugar. Bingo. Make them with your son. Easy.
Oh yeah, no. You totally could.
Yeah,
No, but I
yeah,
was gonna say I would
Just like
actually
pasta.
I would make
Like pasta.
Yeah, exactly.
I wouldn't make my pasta recipe, but it really does look like pasta when it's being made.
Yeah.
And these are filled with a pastry cream, or you can get them empty. Here, I'll break one open. My son is gonna. Ooh. I'm gonna feed
So
these
good.
all to my son afterwards.
Yeah.
But what else was I gonna say? Oh, so yeah, so that's what Carnivale means to him. And I would say he's 14. This is his second year not dressing up anymore. My heart is broken. But I will say the Carnivale is a little more calm. But
You could dress up. You could dress up.
It's really not for adults here in Como. Is it different in Rome? Do adults dress up?
Honestly, I don't know. If there's a carnival party, yeah, but I
Okay.
think it's mainly kids. It's not like when you go to Venice, and I know you guys will go to that carnival eventually. Adults there are things for kids too, but people make the most amazing, extravagant costumes. It's just magical to walk around and see these incredible costumes.
Well,
So, no, I certainly don't see anything like that happening in Rome. It's more of a casual thing for kids, throwing the confetti, this kind of thing, and eating all these goodies, which you find everywhere, really. Yeah.
You've been listening to the Flavor of Italy podcast. Find us at www.flavorofitaly.com and on Instagram, Pinterest, Facebook, and LinkedIn, always as Flavor of Italy.